We gather in the cosmos bright.
Hey, greetings. Welcome back to the Soul Producers. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and I'm joined with my two co-producers and good friends of fastcart FC and SeriousFun. Gentlemen, how are you today on this Sunday morning?
I want to be a co-producer.
A co-producer. Please don't do that, because then fastcart will clip it and it'll be out on the internet again. You know. Anyway, FC, how you doing?
I'm doing well on this short weekend. How are you doing, girl?
I'm doing good. You know, I always forget that we have the Soul Citizen shirts in different colors. I'm so used to seeing mine in black all the time, and I always remember when you wear that shirt that we've got some variety out there. We've got a rainbow of colors available to folks. Mm-hmm.
I got like 3-4 Soul Citizen shirts.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, cool.
Well, and I think the key takeaway is that other people could have 3 or 4 too. So go ahead over to the merch store.
There you go. Yeah. It's funny. You got 3 or 4, but I've got 3 or 4 and they're all black. That's the problem. I have any color ones. I get some variety in my life. Serious, how you doing?
And
I'm sorry.
I even got one of the sweatshirts.
Oh, you got a sweatshirt too? Oh, shoot. Oh, I'm behind. That's terrible. Oh, I got.
He is geared up. Get
that. Maybe I'll get that for when we go out.
5 years.
Well, when we get out, I'll go out west. Maybe I'll have something like that for when we go out west. I don't know. We'll see. Serious, how you doing? You doing good?
I'm good. My Soul Citizen shirt game is not as tight.
Yeah, we got to step
black
up.
and gray.
Yeah.
But I do have a couple mugs. One of Jade's quote and one of my quotes.
Yeah. You know, I still have this one, right? The original one, and I've got the one that we gave to Disco Lando, the Soul Friends one. There's only 2 of those ever made. I've got one of them, and the other one was a tester. So I do have that one, and you know what? I keep forgetting. I've got this one. The one where we had our different things on it. We got to get some for Captain Jones and them. I just realized that with their little phrases and stuff. We have to find. Yeah. I think there's a couple people who don't have.
I need to have a quick conversation with SeriousFun real quick. SeriousFun, do we tell him? You can't see him. He's saying like this, holding up stuff like we can see him.
Dude!
I was just gonna let it go.
Why did you guys? Oh man!
You see my face? I wasn't gonna let it go.
These guys. This is why I love working with these guys, because they drive me crazy. I should have. What they're referring to is usually we have a screen up where they can see what's going on in real time, but because we're recording, they can't do that right now, and so they're teasing me because I neglected them. Because I neglected them, so I'm going to put it in there for them now. Okay, there you go. All right. You can go ahead and click on that, and it'll give you the show. Jeez, oh Pete, how could I forget? So anyway, welcome everybody. We're just having fun. I know you're saying, what are they talking about today? But we are going to be covering several things, and the title for today's show is "Shelter in the Time of Storm." Let me ask Sirius if he's ever heard that phrase before. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
Oh, well, right before fellowship moments, but right after collection.
At church?
This was something that at church, right? So this would be something that my Reverend Pleasant would say about, faith and providence, that it can be shelter in a time of storm. So I feel like I know that phrase very well.
Okay, fastcart, are you familiar with that phrase, shelter in a time of storm?
I must have heard it, but no, I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
I must have heard it though.
Okay, well. We've talked as a group over the past year. We've been talking about the progress of Star Citizen, the community itself. We've talked about us as Soul Citizens and where do we land in that whole gumbo of topics that we could be talking about in relation to community and Star Citizen. And, we've always wanted our show to be something that is based on support of community, and not only support of community, but a place where a community can come. And it doesn't make a difference who you are. There are plenty of times when people have kind of thought or focused on the fact that, we are mostly African. Well, not mostly, we're all African Americans as part of the Soul team. But we have also said that this group is open to everyone, and our supporters come from everywhere. We have supporters that are in Belgium, in Germany, in Asia. We have supporters in Canada. We have people who are actually in South America. We have people all over the place who have been following us for many years. We just celebrated our 5th year, and who have cheered us on. And you know, I know it doesn't seem. I know sometimes people think it's something. It's racial, but it's not racial. It has way more to do about common bond of things that we share, and it's not meant to divide. It's more designed to give greater awareness and exposure to who we are as folk, and hopefully people will see that and say, "Hey, these are cool people. We enjoy them," you know, or maybe we didn't know as much about them, or why did they think that joke was funny? You know, there's a lot of things that we have that we like to share with folk, and so we have a great time doing that. But this topic that we came up with today, a shelter in a time of storm, I think you kind of went there a little bit on me, Serious, in relation to, you know, there are times when one's beliefs or faiths or ideas are challenged, and you have to go through a storm. And sometimes storms are something like a squall, something just kind of pops up out of nowhere and catches you off guard, and you have to kind of ride through it, and it's very short term. And then there are those times when it's tumultuous, where it is a hurricane, and you're looking for that eye of the hurricane, but even if you find the eye, you know, you still got to go through the other side of it, and that could be really rough seas, rough times. And so, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, you know, I said that this year, you know, we would be trying to read the tea leaves of where things are going in relation to Star Citizen, Squadron 42, and Cloud Imperium Games. And I said we would have to assess. We would have to think about what does it look like, because, you know, I had a feeling. I had that, you know, the thing that old folks get. You know, they say, I got that my knee is aching. It's gonna rain. You know, I had this thing that was like, this year there's gonna be some stuff, some things going on, and then when we started approaching 4.0, I said, yeah, there's gonna be some challenges, and it's exciting as approaching 4.0 was, because it's a new level of where our game is going, and as great as 2025 is, because it now brings us 1 year closer to the launching of Squadron 42. It's also a tough time. It is a tough time for folks in the community, for backers. I'm sure that CIG has got a certain level of pressure that it has on it, and so that's kind of our theme today, to talk about that. And so I want to kind of talk to you guys about that, and then we're going to talk about the future, about us, because we've talked about the fact that we want to be relevant. We don't ever want to find ourselves just out here making videos for the sake of making videos. We don't make videos for numbers or hits. Don't get me wrong. Those are a great byproduct and a great gift from you being out there who watch us and support us. But our goal was to just be a voice among many voices in our community, with all of our other comrades out there who are out here trying to do the same thing we do, keep people informed and keep people encouraged. And so I want to talk a little bit about this, fastcart, for you, and I want to kind of maybe take a trajectory from the last 2 years. You know, how have you felt, both you as a backer, and what has been your observation? You know, let's go from the CitizenCon that we attended in LA to last year, and then the CitizenCon we saw last year, and then up to, like, let's say up to where, you know, we are now. You know, how have you felt as a backer? Because you've been in here quite a while, you know, like we all have.
Well, CitizenCon 2023 in LA left me feeling fascinated, because I got to see a whole bunch of people.
You cut out for a little bit. Could you speak up just a little bit? You said they left you how?
Left me feeling rejuvenated again.
Oh, okay.
Rejuvenated again, and I got to see a whole bunch of people from the community I haven't seen, and, you know, it was our first time gathering since, well, for me, 2018, but, you know, since they had the last CitizenCon in 2019.
Right.
And so I was feeling good. And when you come to, like, the development, I like what I saw in 2023, and it was something to look forward to. People don't recall that was the first year they had that, I don't want to say sneak peek, but that preview of the different ships that they wanted to bring in for the next 6 months to 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first time they, well, yeah, First time they did it in that format, put it that way. I don't want to say the first time ever, but the first time they did it in that format. So yeah, I was feeling good. Coming into 2024 CitizenCon, I watched it on stream. Um, the first day was kind of, I don't want to say meh, but left me feeling whelmed instead of, I don't want to say overwhelmed or underwhelmed. Just let me feeling whelmed. I think hope a bunch of people felt that way about the first day of CitizenCon, but
Mm-hmm.
the second day more than made up for it.
Okay.
And then they had those gates. They had the Galaxy Gate. They had the solo player gate. People were wondering whether or not solo players will be a viable form of gameplay in Star Citizen. And they also had oh yeah, the insurance confusion because people weren't really following whether or not what does LTI mean with regard to the different tiers of insurance and warranty and how that was going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bunch of confusion that CID probably spent like the next week or two trying to shift through,
Mm-hmm.
and I think for the most part they took care of it. But the fact that they had to in the first place is a bit troubling.
Yeah.
But coming into now, when they now they're trying to get 4.1. But let me talk about 4.0 real quick. They got 4.0 in. Um, yeah, the community is kind of right now frustrated for for a variety of different reasons. I don't think they're too. Yeah, well, I'm myself and not frustrated because I'm still waiting on my gameplay that I'm looking forward to. But I feel that the quite a bit of the community is frustrated
Do you think that you're not
with
frustrated because
regard
you
to
don't play?
4.0.
Do you think that you're not frustrated because you don't play the game?
I think that's part of it. Yes. As a matter of fact, I think we talked about that earlier this week in Discord because like people, those of us who don't play as much, aren't as frustrated. People who play more often, more frequently,
Hmm.
because they're dealing with the here and now. I'm looking forward to the future still.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Sirius,
Yeah.
what about you? From you were there in LA as well, and you and I both went to the UK, and then we've gone through Chris's letter, we've gone through Benoit's 3-hour speech, and we're at 4.1, ready to go into 4.1. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I am here almost perfectly equally for the Persistent Universe and Star Citizen and for Squadron 42. Right. So the spikes and silences that we hear around Squadron 42, the ultimate rationale that Squadron 42 development was informing Persistent Universe development.
Mm-hmm.
All of that combined with the reality that this project did make a fundamental shift from the GDC launch into they're going to try and make the best space sim ever. It ensured that I had a lot of grace for the project, right? I feel like I am holding. I'm holding. I've gone from holding a lot of sensibilities around the project to feeling more like I'm juggling them when I'm dialoguing with peers in the community,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And hoping that one of the balls that I'm holding is something that allows somebody to stay in touch with the project and with us, right? So for some folks, they have to be reminded that CIG is developing 2 games at the same time. For other folks, we have to talk about the idea that it's really about how we connected and met and got to know each other and now have a space to hang out, right? Whether it's in Discord talking about the game and the game itself, playing something else, we know each other now, right? For other folks, it is leaning into the lore. For some folks, it's about going from CitizenCon to CitizenCon and seeing what we get. Some folks had a real experience going from the 2 dot whatevers into 3.0, and we're expecting a similar experience going from the 3 dot whatevers into 4.0, and they didn't get it. Right? To fastcart's point, 4.0 happened, but it didn't feel as seminal as 3.0, the shift to 3.0 was, even though it may have actually been as seminal, right? In terms of the technology that will drive the rest of whatever we get. And then, you know, it's also wrestling with the idea that as the game goes from concept and ideas and citizen cons, where we have blue sky thinking and we're dreaming big, down into an actual experience, that some folks who were dreaming a certain way are not going to get their dream. Other folks who are dreaming another way are going to get part of their dream. And some folks are going to get what they were thinking when they got involved with this project. And that is going to force all of us to think and rethink our relationship with the project as each one of those things happens, right? So I thought that it was fair. I experienced the announcement of what 1.0 was going to be as ultimately fair, right? Giving people a heads up that this is where we're going, right? And, you know, you can get mad, sad, or glad, but you know, right? And it's not like you don't know now, right? And so I take all of that and I combine it with something that I've said before on this channel and others, which is I think there's something very emotional about when people who have been involved in something get past the 10-year mark. And so that's, you know, as people over the last few years, older backers have over the last few years have been crossing that 10-year mark with the project, you see various reactions, right? And people going, you know, I've had enough, or like fastcart, they're like, you know, I don't really play, so I can have these touchstones along the way, or, you know, they're very, very frustrated, right? And so I think little mistakes that CIG has always made along the way become amplified now because the level of frustration is higher now for those reasons. So for me, I just try to continue to experience this as a journey, right?
So you said, let me ask you a question, because I'm going to forget this question. I don't want to forget it. Do you think that you said people are trying to juggle and trying to figure out, fastcart mentioned about all these different gates. Do you think, you said the world's best damn space sim, but there are people who feel it's moving toward the best space game. Is that distinction a problem? In other words, I'm not saying that it's being gamified. I'm saying that there are things changing, and it's like for a good portion of it, it was the best sim. Now it feels more like the best game. Is that a thing for people? That
I think there's
uncertainty of change. You know.
Yeah, well, uncertainty generally, but for a segment of the community, they were looking to have a sim experience of depth and of rigor and of difficulty, right? You know, some folks, you know, a game should be easy to learn and difficult to master. A sim has depth from the beginning, and mastery is always ongoing, right? So it's a different level of experience.
Yeah.
And the way that Tyler and Chris and Todd, Pappy when he was here, and Tony Z and others talked about this, that's the language they used with us, was the most immersive sim ever, right? Something that people would want to get in and never come out of, right?
See, but here's my problem. Here's my problem. This idea of a sim, and I'm not against it. I'm just saying this is where I think the schizophrenia comes in, for lack of a better term. If I was doing the space shuttle sim, I would have a certain expectation of what a game like that is. If I were to have a some what's the space station up in space? The
The International Space.
Yeah, the ISS. If it was the ISS sim, like I've got a thing in VR where I can go on the ISS sim and I can, and they, it's like I'm floating and I'm doing all the things you can do. It's very cool, and it's simulated. It's like what it's like to be there. Chris Roberts is creating a world that doesn't exist. So where are the boundaries between what is real and what is imagined?
Right.
And where do we draw that line?
It is what they. It's what they say it are.
Yeah, but I'm saying that evoking that word sim brings things to people's minds. Whether you're a gamer or whatever, simulation is what it's like in what it would be like. What it would be like. Okay, something simulating, right? So does that create a certain schizophrenia? Okay, let's use something simple. Let's use the multi-tool, right? Mm-hmm. If we're looking for what does this thing really do in a sim, what would some type of mechanical device do to lift a 30-ton crate?
Right.
Am I expecting realism, or am I expecting it just to do what's required for the game? And I'm not arguing either point. I'm just saying.
If you take 10,000 people and ask them that question, you'll get
10,000 different answers.
That's the problem. And so what they should have said, and I want to quote Tyler because I think it's only fair, right?
Tyler or Trier? Which one? Tyler or Tyler?
Tyler Wiccan.
Tyler Wiccan. Okay.
And speaking for CIG with the Linus Group, he said Star Citizen is, quote, the most ambitious, immersive, uncompromising universe sim ever. It is our attempt at a living universe that will ultimately become the metaverse for tens, if not hundreds of millions of people around the world. We want people to be able to escape into the verse and never have to come out except for the essentials. I think when you say that, you leave it up to the millions of interpretations, to your point, of what that means. I think what they should have said, and I think upon reflection, they probably would say, is Star Citizen is going to be Chris Roberts' most ambitious, immersive, uncompromising universe sim ever. It is Chris's attempt at a living universe, because then it's no longer your interpretation of what that is. You are receiving Chris's interpretation, which is what I think they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes it different. And then you can't go, well, a multi-tool isn't real. This is Chris's universe sim. In the Chris's universe, multi-tool just fine. Right.
Yeah. I was watching the fastcart. I was watching the SCL yesterday. I finally got to finish watching this week's SCL, and it was talking with the teams that put together design stuff with ships and stuff. They were showing some of the new ships, right. And one of the statements was Disco Lando mentioned about the fact that sometimes people will say, "Well, that ship doesn't look like a certain ship." Right, it doesn't look like a RSI ship, or something, right? Something along that, and he went on to explain that car manufacturers will often deviate from something that may look like a Corvette. Everything doesn't look like a Corvette for Chevrolet. There's something else that looks different, and Corvettes have even evolved over the decades. It still has a little bit of reminiscence, and some of the ships that they showed yesterday, to me, had reminiscence of the RSI ship, for example, the Salvager. It looked like had a little elements of this ship and elements of that ship. But then he also stated, but it's an RSI ship because we say it is.
That's right.
So hear what I'm saying. They have the liberty and license to do that, but they also have the liberty and license to change. And that may sound like a harsh statement to say, but it's like telling a Chevy maker, well, that's not a Firebird. And they say, yes, it is a Firebird. It's a Firebird because we said it is. We made it, and our design team made it. It may not look like what you wanted it to look like or what you wanted it to be, but it is a Firebird. Now, I'm saying this is what I think causes some of the schizophrenia. First of all, being willing to embrace that, but to your point, Sirius, that idea of sim still, just like when we talk about how playable means something to gamers, sim means something to gamers. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. And that's the
kicker. Yes, that's the kicker.
Yes,
that's the kicker.
I did have a couple of points. I think CIG has moved away from saying the best darn space game ever. You forgot the word ever, the E on the end. And I don't think I've heard them say that, or CIG specifically, like in 2-3 years. It's been a while since I heard someone from CIG use that phrase.
Well, I haven't. Ever's not the key word I'm dealing with. words I'm dealing with
No,
is
no,
sim
no.
and
I'm just
game.
saying,
Yeah.
but it is included. I'm just saying it is included. But see, but my point is, I don't think I've heard CIG or someone from CIG
Oh, recently,
that
yeah,
phrase recently.
yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
this
So
quote to be fair, this quote I'm offering is from 2021. So you're right.
Yep.
They have not said it that way in a long time.
Yeah.
And also, something in SeriousFun said a bit ago. You said that the community knows what they're getting into. I'm not convinced that so many people they still don't know what they're getting into because they saw the seen trailers and they have a certain thing in mind when it comes to the gameplay that they're looking forward to, and they set their hearts and mind towards getting that. And then we see IG veers away from that either by a lot or even a little. They, I don't know, what the word I want to use? It seems unexpected to them because it doesn't align with what they expected. So some of the communities do know what they're getting into, but I'm not convinced. It feels like more than 50% of the community now has their own ideas of what the game or sim or the realism or however you want to put it of the game should be and could be, rather than like embracing Chris Roberts' vision. Because I think it does seem to me that people are forgetting that this is Chris Roberts' vision. Cause I can't remember. I felt like I had to remind people more of that in past 6 months than I had in past 10 years.
Yeah.
To me.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Something you said, FC, the game should be and could be, but there's another one, which is what it is, which is another issue, right? I never, as long as I've been involved in this thing, whenever I saw the trailers, I never equated to what I saw in a trailer as to what I could do in the game at that moment, ever.
I haven't done that for any game in any trailer. Not just Star Citizen.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that only because Star Citizen was very keen in the beginning to say this is in engine, and that's very easy to make people think, oh, I can go do that right now. And maybe it's because I did have the background like fastcart, or you said serious. Maybe because I knew what this was about. So I never looked at a trailer and said, oh, let me go log in so I can go do, go do that. I always knew that was coming, for lack of a better term.
And for me, I look at some of these trailers and say, you can't do that.
now see that's the interesting part, because we're on the same team, but that's your response. That never goes through my mind, because I never equate that I can do that. So when people do say, "Oh, those trailers are phony," I don't feel a certain kind of way. But when they say that, I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, that's how I feel about it. It has never made me feel like when I saw a trailer that's what's in the game right now. But here's the other side to that. I can very much understand why people might feel that way. I can very much understand, because that's usually the deal. That's usually the draw, right? You see it, and the draw from a marketing standpoint is, hey, get over here. You can play this right now. You can do this.
Yeah, but if you've been involved in gaming at all for any length of time, you've seen game trailers where they show something and that's not what the game looks like at all. The trailer will be 3D, looking like it's Unreal Engine 5, and the game is a side scroller in 2D, right? And then even games that say in engine, that doesn't mean that's still not necessarily the gameplay.
It could be a cinematic or whatever. Yeah, it could be a cinematic. Right. I get it. I get it.
So for me, I see CIG actually, in lots of ways, I see CIG as atypical and outside the common industry, except when they do their advertising. Their advertising feels very common and typical to me.
Okay. Now, I will say this. We're doing a show later today called Sandbox versus Theme Park, and I'm going to tell you why I think those videos quite often are on point. And you and I are going to be on that show today, so I'm going to be curious to see what I'm going to be curious to see what you think in relation to that. FC, you were going to say something, and we're going to go ahead and kind of push forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have seen CIG in more recent trailers move away from the inspirational or aspirational vision of Star Citizen 142 and move towards what the game really is in recent time, like the cargo one, for instance. Yes, they had some aspirational stuff in it, but it was way less compared to like 5 years ago. So I do see them moving to more
Yeah,
toward actual in-engine, actual in-game,
yeah,
and less towards aspirational.
yeah. And we've talked about that. The early years were about vision, and they've been slowly moving away from that, closing the window. What was originally projected sometimes 5 6 years out started moving down to 2 years, 5 years out, 3 years out, something like that. Still not completely always 1 year out, even though they did get pretty close to it when they did 2024. They added a lot within that year that we saw from that CitizenCon. But it is moving in that direction, fast car. And that's because the development and the development tools are allowing them to produce better and more.
Or
Okay.
maybe it's because the community, they finally listened to the community saying that's not in game, we can't do that.
No,
They
that don't
listened to
speed up the wheels. That does not speed up the wheels of design. Believe me, I wish it did. It would make it a lot easier. Okay, so let's talk about this. How do we deal with this shelter in a time of storm when things are pretty rough? Because there are rough seas out there for folks. Some people are really at their wits' end. They are struggling to hang in there and even say anything nice about the game because it's just a very tough time for them. So I want to propose some ideas to you guys. And this is both to my producers too. They kind of know a little bit about this, but we're going to introduce a couple of things for you guys to know about, and I want to touch on one of the first ones. As you guys know, back in December we did our last episode of Soul Voices. That was our 100th episode, and we closed that out because it was time to just close it out. Sometimes, it's just a season for all things, and some things have a certain lifespan. This isn't the first show we've done that with. We had our Friday night show that we did years ago that we did several episodes on, and we changed out on that. Then there was Soul Voices, which you just recently changed out on. Because you guys are our Patreon subscribers, we're putting this out now to you guys because we try to keep you guys informed of things that are coming up. Our current show, Soul Talk, is going to be having its last episode this Thursday as well. Fastcart has done.
Wait, what?
Yeah, what? Yo, you didn't know
Really?
about that? Oh yeah, you didn't get the letter?
I'm getting fired?
You didn't get the letter? You didn't get the memo? You didn't get the memo? Check your email.
Am I getting a golden parachute at least?
Please
tell
email.
me I'm finally getting a.
You get a year's salary. Yeah,
4x4 land claim.
We'll get you a year.
There
We'll get
are
you a
no
year's
parachutes. There are no parachutes at Star Citizen. So
That's
you
true.
get a golden backpack. That's what we get.
A golden backpack.
Oh yeah, and as again, there's a season for everything, and as we go into 2025, we are, even though some things are going away, we are not leaving a vacuum. There are some things that are going to be coming that we think will continue to build our community, and we want to be able to do that. Fastcart will be. He did more than me. I only did 100 episodes. He did 100. This will be his 185th episode of doing Soul Talk, and that's a lot of episodes and dedication to be out there every week, talking with folks from the community, sharing information on what CIG is doing. It is no small task, and it's no small decision when we do things like this. But there's a word that we want to be, and it's called dynamic. We want to not be static. We don't want to be just sitting and just doing the same thing over and over just because, well, it's just something to do. We want to make sure that we're staying relevant and providing as much to you guys as possible. So we've got a couple of ideas that we're going to share with you. And both of them involve both of these gentlemen. So let me hit the first one for you. We talked about this on our anniversary show. Some of you all may not have got a chance to see it, but we've got a new series that is going to be introduced by SeriousSfun called Lore Lighthouse. And hence the title. I hope you like that, Serious, the connection with what we've got here for our show.
Shelter in a time of storm.
Shelter in a time of storm. And we can talk about what a lighthouse does. Every once in a while, there's a spark of ingenuity on my part. I'm going to let Serious talk a little bit about this and his ideas, vision for this show.
Yeah. Real quick, the idea of Lore Lighthouse is to really explore and immerse ourselves in the lore of Star Citizen from a Soul Citizen's perspective, right? So the idea is, and we're thinking about launching this in April. Right now, that's the current plan. We'll see, but probably in April. And it's to really go through the lore and the interesting things in the lore and what they might mean for not only our gameplay, but how we experience the universe, right? And if you're feeling a certain way right now, as this video is released, about the content, the small little content drops that are happening in 4.0.2 and 4.1, and I've seen a lot of videos about it. People are just latching on to little pieces of content and little insights and a change in the loading screen and new information and stuff like that. I'm not going to say everything that's popped up because some of it is spoilers, right? But imagine a universe filled with that. Imagine that CIG has given us a lot of information about the type of universe that they're building. Imagine that there's a whole history, and now realize that that's all true, right? And so we're going to spend some time enjoying going through that, right? And having some fun understanding it, placing it into some contexts, asking some interesting questions, and exploring it. And so the Lighthouse shines a light on lore in a Soul Citizens way. So
Okay.
It's funny. You should do a trailer in the movie voice format saying, "Imagine a world."
in a world.
In a
where-
world.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're looking
that's funny.
forward to Lore Lighthouse. It'll be something a little bit different for those of you who are looking to get really into. You know, we I know sometimes it's with a game that's being built out. You almost don't want to feel like why should I put the energy into it? They're still working on things, but there will be some advantages. In fact, Serious Fun, you just mentioned that there was something new introduced into 4.1 that is beginning to expand our universe in the sense of the cultures and races that are in the game. And to know what that means, that lore is gonna be important because missions will be based upon lore and information. And if you don't have that information, you may find yourself on the short end of a stick when it comes to doing certain things in the game. So absolutely, we're looking forward to this. If it's an April start, May at the latest probably, but we are looking to kind of get this incorporated in pretty soon. So I want to give Serious Fun a big shout out for taking on this task because it is no small task. And we'll see how it goes. We know you guys will enjoy it. So that's going to be Lore Lighthouse. The next thing that we have coming up, we talked about this last week at our anniversary too. People have been asking us forever about if we are an org. And we
Almost
are
like that first month.
yeah. And we're not an org.
And the answer is no.
Yeah, we are not an org. Yes, we have a Discord. Yes, we have people who come and hang out. Yes, we've done some things fun in the game together, but we're not an org. We are a community. We are in a community that's, everybody's got a community. I don't care if it's a Space Tomato or if it's a Burks or if it's a Board Gamer. They all have their communities, people who support and watch them. And we have that same thing here. But we also have a community that is pretty tightly knit. And it's an interesting thing to me because many of the people who come to us are in other orgs. They're in other groups. We do have some folks who aren't, but we have quite a few who are in their own orgs and active in those orgs, but they come to our space and they come to sometimes to sit there in the background and just be doing work in the background. Sometimes they're playing Star Citizen. Sometimes they're playing something else. Sometimes they're watching television, but they enjoy being amongst other like-minded people. And so we are looking to create, we have created what Star Citizen or what RSI calls a club on their website, and it is called Soul Station. Now, this is a long-term project, just like when we saw at CitizenCon, those space stations, they are a long-term project. This is something that's going to be long-term, and Fastcart FC, along with Captain Jones from the Soul team, are going to be overseeing this, and it is basically going to be an evolution with where we are in the game currently, with what we have, the assets that are there currently in the game. Soul Citizens are going to find some place that they're going to call home in the game. It's going to be their place in-game, and we'll gather there when we want to do activities or do things or just hang out. And this is being done with a purpose or an intent that as things begin to roll out in the game, such as base building, we would love to be able to build some small community. It may be nothing more than a cantina on the side of a hill, but it'll be a place where we know we can come to and hang out and meet and greet and chill.
It'll be more than that.
Well, let's say it may start with something like that. Then again,
Yes.
who knows?
Yeah, that's fair.
It
That's
may
fair.
be. Well, that's hence the name Soul Station. I've never been saying that. I said it might be as little as. I hadn't gotten to the big part. Or it may be as expansive as what you see on the screen, where eventually we grow to a community that may even have something like a space station. But my point is, it'll be a gathering point for folks in the community. And again, fastcart is going to be kind of to help cultivate that, along with Captain Jones. Fastcart will be the overseer. Captain Jones will basically be being the activities person to make sure things that we do to incorporate other people and play together will be something that we do from time to time and have a good time doing it. So
when fastcart rolls in, they'll say fastcart, like they said Norm on Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
Yeah, everybody knows your name.
I was just gonna just don't expect me to be security. I am not a bouncer. We'll see what I can do.
Yeah. So that's the other thing that we're excited about is Soul Station. And yes, you can apply for Soul Station. We're not sending out, any type of what do you call those things, bots or anything like that to recruit people. If you are a Patreon member or a member of our YouTube or Twitch, you guys are the first ones to hear about it. So feel free if it's something that you think you're interested in. We hope that you will take a look at it. But if not, we understand people have loyalties to orgs and everything else. So just know that it's there for you as a refuge, as a shelter in a time of storm. Okay. All righty.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Last but not least, I've told you what SeriousFun's working on, and I've told you what fastcart's working on, but I've been working on a project along with many other people in our community, good friends of ours, on a project called Quantum Vegas 2955. Some of you may have already seen that or saw some of the announcements for it, but we're going to show you just the trailer for that very quickly and basically give you an idea of what this is about. And Soul Citizens is one of the sponsors or supporters of this event. It is not being I shouldn't say that. We are a supporter of the event. This is not a Soul Citizens event, even though there are some people from Soul Citizens working on it. There's several people from our community who are working on this project. So let's take a look at the video, and then we're going to talk about it very shortly, and then we're going to close it out.
Quantum Vegas 2955 is a community celebration of the Star Citizen universe, uniquely designed to immerse attendees in the creative and technical brilliance of the game. Hosted in the unparalleled conference environment of Area 15 in Las Vegas, Nevada, this inaugural event offers direct access to developers from Cloud Imperium Games, influential community leaders, as well as other Star Citizen backers. This event offers interactive sessions with special guests covering the complexity of game development to community-driven experiences in a unique and intimate setting. Quantum Vegas 2955 is more than a convention. It's an immersive gateway into the Star Citizen legacy, an unmissable highlight on the gaming calendar. Seating is limited for this special event, and early bird tickets will be sold out soon. For tickets and information, visit quantumvegas.space and follow our social media on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Quantum Vegas 2955, by the community, for the community.
Okay. So Quantum Vegas, July 12th. Hoping that those of you who are in the Southwest area, you can come from anywhere you want to. Believe me, we've got somebody who's actually coming from Germany. But if you guys want to check that out at quantumvegas.space, go to the website, take a look at it. Information's there, some videos, Q&As, and of course, tickets are there. And tickets are right now in what we call the inaugural phase right now, which is people who are early supporters who want to get in and get the tickets at the lower price of $75. It is a full day event being held at a location called Area 15. There's information there for it. We've got CIG coming in. There will be a bar citizen also the day before on that Friday at Area 15, where you get to hang out with the people from Cloud Imperium Games as well. And of course, our moderators who are going to be there, Paul Shelley, SeriousSFun is one of our moderators. Star Jump Grim is one of our moderators. Nate Ellis, who is Natronics, who's done the EE Studios machinimas, will be there. It's going to be a really great weekend. We've got a lot of great stuff planned. We're giving away our very first, we call it the QVM, the Quantum Vegas Machinima Award. We're giving out awards that day, and a lot of giveaways, a lot of good stuff going to be happening. So check that out, quantumvegas.space online, and we hope to see you there.
Check it out. Be there. Make sure you get there and get them tickets.
Yes. And you get to meet us. We're all going to be there. All three of us are going to be there. So you get to meet
Yeah.
us. Yeah, that's a yeah. I don't know if that's a perk or not, but
I don't know if that's a perk, but yeah.
I don't know if that's a perk or not.
Of course, it's a perk to
It's
meet
a
all
perk.
these lovely people.
Okay.
It's a perk.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well,
But, here's my joke. That might not be the perk.
Oh, you know what? I was one more thing I forgot to mention, and I don't know why I did. I mentioned about the Bar Citizen, but we titled this show "Shelter in a Time of Storm," and what we really do want to do is I'm gonna go back to the other screen for a second. We want people to consider the things we talked about. We've talked about the things that we're doing as a community. Lord Lighthouse. We talked about Soul Station. We talked about our upcoming event, Quantum Vegas 2955. But there are things that you can do as being a part of this community, and to kind of give yourself a little bit of, what's the word I want to say? Energy. That's a word. Let me share this with you, because I meant to do this earlier, because I mentioned about Bar Citizen. If you've never gone to a Bar Citizen before, and you're feeling burnt out, I would like to highly suggest that you try to go to one. Being around other backers, these are not. It doesn't necessarily mean that these are all people who are all white knights and whatever, but there are other people in the community that you can talk to and share with and get perspective with and have conversations with, and maybe it will rekindle and inspire and give you a little bit of extra energy that will help you get through this storm, this tough time. We've gotten used to things being a certain kind of way. We've gotten used to information coming out a certain way, access to information. CIG has done some flips themselves to address going up into this next year with how information is being sent out. Even though there's still a lot of information, it is changed a little bit, and it's changed for us as what we do here at Soul Citizens, and we know it's changed for you as a backer. So we want to encourage you to go to barcitizen.sc. That is their website. You can find, these are just some of the Bar Citizens that are taking place. They're actually redoing the site right now because of the new global tour and some other things that are going to be added to it. So keep an eye on it. And if you are interested in going to a Bar Citizen, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you go. I've gone before. Fastcart has been, Sirius has been to, we've all been to them. We've all been to a Bar Citizen at some point. And you will not be disappointed.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, you will not be disappointed if you go. So we just want to encourage you guys to consider.
I went to the Bar Citizen before the Citizen Con, and that was like 5-10 bars. So everything ain't gonna be like that. But your local Bar Citizen may in fact be your best bet.
Yeah.
And like Griff said, you're not just gonna hear white knight positivity. You're going to hear people who are wrestling with the experience like you are, right? And one of the best things that can come out of the development of this sim or game or whatever it ends up being is connection and community. So we encourage that.
Sometimes the question is, well, what if there's not a Bar Citizen near me? What should I do then? Go to the next state? No, there are resources to help you start a Bar Citizen, and you can do that or be going to the barcitizen.sc Discord and get information there. It doesn't take much. You can put in hours and hours and work if you want into putting together the one, or you just slap together one and say, hey, I'm meeting people here. If you want to come join me, come on over. It's simple as that.
And you can go to, they have a Discord that is based on regions, and you can find out if there's one near you, near your city, if you don't see it on the map, or there are people there that'll talk about it. I've been to a Bar Citizen. I went down to St. Louis, and there were 4 people. And I went all the way to St. Louis, which was a 5.5-hour drive for me. But it was just 4 people. And then I've been to them where there's 200 people. I've been to them when there's been 2,000 people. So connect. And find some shelter. Find some shelter in this storm right now. I know it can be rough for some folks, but we want to encourage you guys with what we do, but also let you know there are things out there in the community that you can do too. And that's about it. So again, thank you guys for being here. To our Patreons, to our YouTube subscribers, thank you for your continued support in what we do. We really appreciate you. This video will go out today for you guys and will be out publicly on tomorrow, which will be Monday. But I appreciate these guys taking their Sunday afternoon to join us. Sorry that we're a little late. We had a busy week last week with our anniversary, and a lot of other stuff was going on, so we didn't get to record at the first of the month. But Fastcart was diligent and stayed on top of us and said, "When are we doing the video?" So we are finally sending this video out. So yeah, don't forget to check out all of our other videos. Don't forget to come and give Fastcart a big cheer this Thursday. This will be, again, his final show for Soul Talk. Come out and give us some good support to him. Tell him how much we appreciate all the work that he's done. And hopefully we'll see you guys. Well, we're recording it now, so you won't. Well, if you see this video today, you know we're doing the show tonight called Sandbox versus Theme Park. But if you see it after today, then obviously check out the video. We hope you guys will enjoy that topic. It'll be Serious Fun and I there for that. And till next time, we'll see you guys real soon. Fastcart.
Peace.
Love.
And soul.
Take care, gang. See you later.
We gather in the cosmos bright.